Boston, 1773. One of the most daring and consequential events in American history is about to take place. Liberty or death, Boston Tea Party.
Welcome back. Former President Trump's legal team filing a motion for a mistrial in the $250 million New York civil fraud case. The team released a 30-page motion which slammed Judge Engoron as, quote, biased, accusing him of engaging in extrajudicial activities and co-judging with a law clerk who was involved with public partisan activities. This motion reads, quote, there can be no doubt of the public perception of bias in this case. Only the grant of a mistrial can salvage what is left of the rule of law. Joining me right now is legal spokeswoman for Donald Trump, Alina Habba. Alina, thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And we spoke on Sunday, and you said, yes, we are going to file for a mistrial, and you've done just that.
That's
I
right.
know you have a gag order. The president has a gag order, so you can't say much about this. But what can you tell us of what's behind this mistrial motion?
Well, I can speak to the court. I can speak to the rules that need to be followed that have been broken. Generally speaking, you cannot have the appearance of bias. You cannot have, there's rules about political contributions. There's rules about doing things that show a bias towards someone. I can speak to what the judge has done, which is putting things into the Wheatley alumni newspaper that he is an editor of. There's articles about me, there's articles about Eric Trump, there's articles about the case while the case is pending.
Wow.
There are things you're just not allowed to do because the American public has to believe that when they go to court, they're going to get a fair trial no matter what their personal beliefs are. Obviously, I have my personal beliefs.
Yeah.
But if I were a judge, I'm not allowed to bring those in. You're supposed to look at law to fact. And there's a lot of evidence there, some of which I can't speak about, some of which I can, but I encourage everybody to read the papers.
In fact, in the papers, there's a video of the clerk talking about Letitia James, chanting in terms of, you know, Trump is going to go down. What specifically is she chanting?
So that's the one part of my gag order that I obviously cannot speak to. I think, let me just speak about the gag order for a minute. The fact that I can't speak about it is so crazy in and of itself. I'm an attorney, I'm an advocate, and I'm a spokeswoman. So the president's attorney and spokeswoman cannot speak about things that I see that are inappropriate because I've been gagged. My gag is limited to that item, so unfortunately, all I can say is I encourage you to go look at the papers, and it'll speak for itself.
Because the clerk is actually chanting, and you have reported in the past that the clerk had donated lots of money.
Yeah, that's been reported.
To Democrats.
That's been reported.
Yeah. Alina, let me get your take on what Hunter Biden is saying now, because Hunter Biden's lawyer is calling for a federal judge to subpoena former President Trump.
Sure.
Hunter Biden says he wants a subpoena of Trump for testimony in his criminal gun case. In a letter to the judge, attorney Abby Lowell writes this: Mr. Trump has made a plethora of concerning public statements calling for an investigation or possible prosecution of Mr. Biden, both while in office and since leaving. Mm-hmm. Is President Trump expecting a subpoena from Hunter Biden?
You know, if they're going to put my client on the stand, and I have heard this, if they're going to put my client on the stand to discuss Hunter Biden, go ahead. Go ahead. You know, obviously it's ridiculous. They're trying to intimidate and trying to say, if you're going to attack our kid, we're going to put you on the stand for what? Saying things that we've seen pictures of, checks that have come from the CCP, drugs, videos, hookers. I mean, I'm not really sure what their angle is there, but I would advise him to get new counsel.
Well, at this point, you've got a laptop, which basically lays it all out.
The laptop from hell.
Yeah, the laptop from hell. What's the timing on this mistrial motion? When are you going to hear back? What have you heard about it so far?
Sure. Today, the judge is going to let us know, actually the AG's office is going to let us know whether they plan to put in any papers. It's really not so much about the Attorney General as it is about the court and the members of the court. So I'm not sure whether they will. If they do, it will be briefed and then we'll argue it. The problem with a mistrial, like everything else, the problem with any of these recusal motions in any court is that the judge themselves has to decide it. And the likelihood of that is slim, but I have to say that you have a responsibility to monitor your people. You have a responsibility to make sure everybody is ethical, acts ethically, and is actually giving the defendants a fair shot. And we have not had that here.
Well, it's incredible because you could see Letitia James over there in front of the podium on the microphone all the time, and yet you can't hear anything about it from Trump because he's got a gag order.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, Jonathan Turley has called unconstitutional.
It is unconstitutional.
Yeah. Let me get your take on this. UFC CEO Dana White says one of his top advertisers once pressured him to take down a pro-Trump post while explaining how he responded. Watch this.
I posted a video for Trump, right, on my personal social media. And one of our big sponsors called and said, take that down. You know what I said? Go yourself. Yeah. You vote for whoever you want to vote for, and I'll vote for whoever I want to vote for. That's how this works. I don't even care who you're voting for.
Wow. Have you had any clients or legal partners tell you, not to defend Trump?
Of course. Of course.
So you're getting pressure as well?
Oh, pressure. I mean, death threats, pressure, the list goes on and on. Listen, I think that's when you know you're doing something right. And as Americans, it doesn't matter to me whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. It truly doesn't. I miss the days where we used to be able to sit across the table and have a conversation and respect other people's opinions. And I think that's what Dana is saying. This is how it works. You get to vote for who you want. I get to vote for who I want. There's no election interference. There's no stolen elections. There's none of that. And when we get this country back to that, I think we'll all be in a lot better place.
Well, look, we've talked a lot about the potential of bias here, and that's behind your motion for a mistrial. Let's talk about the specific charges against President Trump. What is his response to these charges?
They are trying to claim that he, his family, his company were committing some sort of fraud by giving a compilation, which anybody who knows anything about accounting, a compilation is something any real estate developer puts together that says, hey, this is what I think my assets are. It's not audited, but we do actually, and he did do this and he didn't need to, had an accounting firm who was with him for almost 30 years, the same people who had full access to the company come in and put it together. But now they're trying to find, it's a fishing expedition, honestly. They're trying to find some liability, some fraud. His response is, this is a witch hunt. I mean, it's the epitome of a witch hunt. If there was ever any doubt of it, look at the way they kept this in this court instead of the commercial division where it should have been. Look at the way they put a 6312 case together for fraud, which is a consumer fraud action. Shouldn't be used in private companies. If you're a New Yorker, you need to be very worried about this Attorney General. She's going to come into private businesses. It is a very scary standard. They did nothing wrong. In fact, some of these properties were very undervalued, and she would like you to believe that Mar-a-Lago is $18 million. If that's the case, Maria, you and I should go in and find somebody to buy it because we'll flip it in about 5 seconds for, 20 times that price. It's ridiculous. But the fact that you look at her actions, she's doing these press conferences, she's putting out statements. She's only there days that the Trumps are there. She's only there for Alan Weisselberg. She's only there for those days. Other than that, she's not there. She's not interested, or she's sitting there planning her next press conference. I watch her. We saw there was an image of her smirking. This is a very politically motivated group of individuals, and that's part of why we did the mistrial, and we're going to keep going up to the appellate division and dealing with it outside of this court.
I don't know how President Trump is handling all of this. 4 indictments. He's got, obviously, campaigning to do as well. Are you expecting trials? Putting the New York civil court case aside, are you expecting these trials to materialize before the election?
That's what they want. That's clearly what they want. We already have trials slated. I'm general counsel for the Save America PAC, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to oversee it, but it's unfortunate enough to oversee it and see how coordinated an effort this is. A lot of these cases are things that happened years ago, but the judges and the AGs and the corrupt DAs have decided to slam him all in an election year so that he's not on the campaign trail, so that he's not in Iowa, so that he's not out doing what he needs to do.
And yet there he is at these rallies.
There he is at these rallies, and look at the polls. They speak for themselves. I think that it's making him, frankly, relatable. Nobody wants to be wrongly prosecuted and persecuted.
Alina, thank you. We'll keep checking back with you on all of this.
Thanks
for being
Maria.
here. Alina Habba joining us.
All right, let's see what we got next here. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Oh, it's a fight. Oh, there's dogs inside the thing if you guys can't see this. Damn it. Okay. Now, I really would like to find some more stuff on, let's see, on Trump's lawyer. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not that prepared, guys, but I'm doing the best I can. Oh, here we go. This is cool. That's her. I love her.
Did you know most women who get breast cancer have no family history?
Sorry about
But then
that.
how do you know if you're at risk? Get a mammogram at the
Washington, D.C. federal court. One of his attorneys spoke to reporters about the charges.
Hi, how are you all? The fact that I am standing here for the third time in 5 months is not a coincidence. This is the Biden political lawfare that we have seen time and time again. It is a deflection from everything that they have done. And if you don't believe me, look at the facts. On March 17th, Hunter accidentally admits that it was his laptop from hell. The next day, DA Alvin Bragg indicts President Trump. June 8th, an FBI document is released showing that the Ukrainians paid the Biden crime family millions and millions of dollars. The next day, the Mar-a-Lago raid and the Mar-a-Lago indictment. Last week, Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal fell through when the judge realized it had blanket immunity. The following day, a superseding indictment against Donald Trump. July 31st, Devin Archer goes to testify in front of the House. That was only after they failed to put him in jail prior to the fact. What happens the next day? The January 6th indictment that we're here for today. This is not a coincidence. This is election interference at its finest against the leading candidate right now for president, for either party. President Trump is under siege in a way that we have never seen before. President Trump and his legal team and everyone on his team will continue to fight, not for him, but for the American people. I'll take some questions.
Thank you. I know the president has called this a witch hunt. You just laid out several examples of that. Any other thoughts that the president has communicated to you in terms of why this is going on and then why he calls it a witch hunt?
I think a witch hunt is really the way that anybody should describe this, because it's not something we've seen in our time. This is not even political. This is beyond that. A witch hunt is when you relentlessly attack your opponent, when you relentlessly attack the thing that you are most afraid of. People are afraid of somebody that cannot be bought by Washington. People are afraid of somebody who is independently wealthy and who has given up his good life to fight for this country. And that frightens a lot of politicians who are career politicians, unfortunately, because he'll get back there, and I know he'll be fighting for every one of us so that this doesn't happen to us.
You say this case is about free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
So what is it that he did to try and switch the votes that you refer to? By bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I will say that today, I don't feel very much like we are in America. Yes?
This case should go forward before or after the 2024 presidential election?
I think that every court needs to look at this as a whole, right? It's not about the January 6th case. It's about the fact that in the matter of a couple months, we have seen them try and tie up, and me as an attorney, I've never seen this, tie up one individual who's running a campaign, running for office for president, so that he is in court, in depositions, and distracted, so that he won't properly run for 2024. And frankly, it's not going to work.
Is the legal team going to argue that the election was stolen?
I don't think that that's the argument that needs to be made. I think that anybody that believes that is misreading this. The truth is, as an American, there were questions that he had regarding the election integrity. We've seen documents come out, we've seen documentaries come out showing that there were issues with the election. And frankly, by bringing this, I don't think Jack Smith really thought it through. There only has to be proof that, number one, President Trump believed that this election was not completely honest. And number two, Jack Smith has opened himself up to a can of worms that we can now look at and really examine.
If you believe that he's innocent and that this is all a setup, why not bring it to trial as soon as possible before the election so that you can clear his name?
Yeah, I would love to do that, but there's something called discovery. And when somebody wants to say that the 2020 election was perfect and that President Trump has no right to object to it, we've got to go show them all the facts. And there's a lot of facts to show. So everybody has their time. And to say that Donald Trump should then be rushed and not be given the same fair proceeding that anybody else is just, frankly, un-American. It's not fair. It's not the way our system works.
A lot of the lawyers who helped him try to overturn the election are unnamed co-conspirators in the indictment. Jenna Ellis isn't. Why do you think that is?
I'm not going to speak to co-conspirators or anybody else. I represent President Trump.
Let's go one more.
Alina, there are a number of, there's testimony and there's a number of aides that have said that the president was made aware that he lost the election and yet continued to argue that it was stolen from him. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think that everybody was made aware that he lost the election, but that doesn't mean that that was the only advice he was given. As anybody understands what happens in the Oval Office, there are a numerous amount of advisors and politicians and lawyers, not just one or two, that are giving you advice and telling you what they believe is true. So he may not agree with Mike Pence. He may not agree with one of his lawyers, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other people advising him exactly the opposite. And the president has a right, as every one of us do, to listen to several opinions and make their decision.
I remember hearing Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams argue their elections were not right.
Absolutely.
I mean, how in the weaponization of the DOJ didn't happen then.
No, of course not. But if your last name's Trump, it's very different. So Hillary Clinton could have a problem when she lost the election, and we could have a complete liberal meltdown, as we all saw. But when we have dignified disagreements, we take them to court, we say do things patriotically and peacefully, he's to blame for things that he did not himself do. And that's what we're seeing. Frankly, folks, this is not about that. This is about politics. This is about 2024. Period. The end.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's so classy. Let's see, what else do we have? I wanted to get one more in here. Not from C-SPAN, that's for sure. Let's see, turn that off. Alright, well, I'm not sure what it is here. I'm gonna do this real quick, and maybe we can get it. I sent it to my sister, and possibly
Even walked into this courtroom. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. What he has to say. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning, paid as an attorney, call my client a liar, or taxpayer dollars, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. Because Miss James, she said this morning that the numbers and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie, and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor, and that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024.
And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart. And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are. Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear, I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. Because not every American citizen gets a camera and a microphone. And what I'm seeing is such a demise of American judicial system and democracy. Miss James came out this morning and said that she knew Mr. Trump. She always calls him Mr. Trump because it kills her that he was the president. But the 45th president of this country, one of the best presidents we've had, has built a great company. It's worth a ton more than that statement of financial condition. And she doesn't know how to get out of it because her politics won't allow her. She calls him a bully. She says he's going to bring out racial slurs. He's going to say things today and taunt her. Well, Miss James, you taunted him.
Let's see. There was there's another one I really want you to see. This is real quick, and it's
y'all have to see this. Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, just went off. Y'all have on Letitia James Trump's and the corrupt New York City judge. Just watch this. Off.
Miss James, I have a message for
James
you.
And
the numbers didn't lie when you
New
ran
York
for
City
governor.
Judge.
And that's why you dropped out. James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor. And that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024. And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart. And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear, I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here.
nice. I love her. Okay, one more, guys. Let's do this last one. My boy A-Dog, he's cool. Oh, here, the case is falling apart. Let's check this out.
Let's take a look at the courtroom in downtown New York. Donald Trump on trial, civil lawsuit. The issue is real estate market valuations versus tax valuations. Oh, wait a minute. The issue is left-wing judges versus Trump and a left-wing attorney general versus Trump. Joining me here is Trump attorney Alina Habba, who was in the courtroom today. Alina, thank you for coming on. Donald Trump on trial, civil lawsuit. The issue is real estate market valuations versus tax valuations. Oh, wait a minute. The issue is left-wing judges versus Trump and a left-wing attorney general versus Trump. Joining me here is Trump attorney Alina Habba, who was in the courtroom today. Alina, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Did the judge already make a decision with respect to the Trump assets and properties? Tell us about that, because he has no right to take away one's life's earnings.
Oh, I think we're seeing all legal excessive bounds being broken at this moment. The judge did do that before we even walked into court, and I want the American people to understand this judge already ordered that the Trump organization, all affiliated companies, even his trust, be dissolved, That was ordered before we walked into that courtroom, before an expert took the stand, before anybody took the stand, and before my clients could even take the stand and defend themselves. So he summarily ordered that. That is something that, breaking news, we will be appealing, and that'll be filed tomorrow.
You're going to file the appeal tomorrow, and the appeal will go up to the State Court of Appeals.
Yes, it'll go to the First
Which
Department of
might have more to do with the law than this Superior Court judge.
Yes.
Maybe.
I'm not going to.
One can, no, I know. I don't want to get you into trouble. I don't want to send you to Rikers Island. I don't want to send my former boss Trump to Rikers Island.
No, that's not happening.
But, you know, there are some people who say this idea of seizing businesses and seizing assets and seizing real estate property is a very clear violation of the 14th Amendment.
Right.
Strong legal case there.
Right. And look, you have business people that are watching your show. Your show's amazing. Let's just think about the precedent that this will.
By the way, in case I don't get to it, today they got the gag order removed, and it was found to be unconstitutional, and the judge was booted.
Set in the state of New York. People in New York should be worried. If we're saying that the Attorney General can now leap and dive into private businesses, private enterprises, because they are using a consumer fraud application in a private business, that is a very concerning and very serious issue for businesses in the state of New York. That has never been done before.
Who's the victim here? Not the
none.
banks. The banks were paid off. There's no consumers. I mean, if you own the Trumps own the properties. And by the by, we've covered this on this show. A couple of good New York Sun articles, of all places. The difference between a tax assessment of a property versus a market property valuation is night and day. Why doesn't this judge get that?
Well, I don't know, because another point is the tax assessor who actually on Mar-a-Lago, and everyone knows this judge said Mar-a-Lago, the tax assessed value of Mar-a-Lago at 18 to 20 whatever million is what the value should be. On his statement of financial condition, he put it higher, which frankly it wasn't high enough. Mar-a-Lago's probably worth almost $2 billion. And we have this guy saying that this is the value that should be used. Now, that's what we're appealing tomorrow, of course, along with everything else in there. But even the tax assessor and the department in Palm Beach came out and told the Sun, hey, guys, sorry, the lawyers are right. That was the tax assessed value. That is not market value at all. It's a very basic concept, but, you know,
South Florida realtors laughed at that $18 million assessment.
You can't get anything in Palm Beach proper for $18 million. I mean, a shoebox.
No, I understand that. What about this gag order that the judge has imposed? I mean, I hold a peculiar view of First Amendment, Bill of Rights, free speech. A lot of people, I won't say every person, but many people believe this is a socialist state attorney general who ran against Donald Trump. Trump was not on the ballot, but she ran against him anyway. Before this happened, this judge has made disparaging remarks against former President Trump. So now they want to gag the president. I don't want they going to gag you. I don't want to get you in trouble and send you
I
to
was
the
also
pokey.
no, I was
You were
also
gagged too?
So it wasn't per se
mean?
for me, but I represent the president. A gag order is effectively silencing your rights to free speech, and we did, you know, explain that. But the reality of the situation is, the judge here has done and will do what he wants. It's a bench trial, as we know, and under 6312, we were not entitled to a jury. So we are stuck with this and dealing with going to the appellate division every time there's something that we don't agree with. And, you know, we're just going to have to continue to fight like we always do and keep going up the ladder. I mean, it's a very serious precedent. Nobody has done Jack Smith. We haven't seen this. And to do that to a president and sitting candidate who's leading in the polls because a political opponent's minion, frankly, is coming after him is a problem. That's a problem. Again, scary precedent. A lot of things happening in this courtroom in a civil, equitable court decision that shouldn't be happening.
I had the impression, just the last point, that the Trump legal team was cross-examining these accountants, and the judge didn't want them cross-examined. Now, can you just give us a brief summary of that?
Sure. We've been going back and forth in court about going through every single statement because, number one, we're not supposed to be looking at this many statements because there's something called statute of limitations. His position is, no, we can let it in and it'll go in, and we've objected, as all the press has reported. And we're going to continue to do so. And then he said, no, you have to summarize it. Well, we can't. You know, you have to have your day in court. And this is the problem that we're seeing. They had 3 years, 3 years of investigation, thousands, millions of pages. I've been on this case for multiple years. And then we go to court and we're going to rush? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Do these accountants actually, I mean, I was reading in the New York Post this morning. I mean, it didn't sound like they were actually making a valuation case. It was a more narrowly defined tax appraisal case. Now, maybe I didn't understand that.
The Attorney General's office?
Well, the Attorney General's office and even the accountants that you were interviewing on the legal team.
Oh, well, the accountants now, let's remember what happens here in real practical life.
They're just accountants.
They're accountants, but what happens? The Attorney General goes and starts investigating them, freaks them out, tells them that we're going to bring SEC violation, whatever it is, and then they freak out and desist. It's what we've seen happen. The DA, the AGs working together in New York. We've seen this happen. Don't forget, this started with Bragg. He didn't bring the case, and then we have this Attorney General, and frankly, the case, in my opinion, is falling apart.
All right, falling apart. Alina, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. You have to go back down there tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Right, when you get work. Alina Habba, Mr. Trump's attorney.
All right. There was one more thing. That I wanted to show you guys. That just really bothered me.
All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and man, oh man, Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, is not playing around at all. Now, we all know that the gag order had just been lifted. Now, this video right here was like a few days before the gag order just got lifted. That because I seen this video circulating, and I mean, all right, it's circulating all with another video, and man, oh man,
this is my boy. This dude.
Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, is not playing around at all. Now, we all know that the gag order had just been lifted. Now, this video right here was like a few days before the gag order just got lifted. That because I seen this video circulating, and I mean, it's circulating all around YouTube. This video that went viral, got almost 2 million views, and I knew nothing about it. And this right here was saying that Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, y'all know how much we respect Alina Habba. She calls it like it is. She does not hold back at all. Now, she made this video saying that when she was in the courtroom that she was getting yelled at, and that that corrupt judge was slamming his fist on the table, basically acting like he trying to treat her like a child or something. And y'all know Alina Habba is not going for that at all. Now, I definitely want to check this out to see exactly what happened, to see Alina Habba's side of view of it. So we definitely about to check it out and see what she got to say. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be nice, because this video is circulating and it seemed like she wasn't playing. Now, like I said, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. Everybody been leaving positive comments in the comment section. I also want to thank everybody that clicked on this video for the very first time. I appreciate you as well, and shout out to the ones that always watch the entire video and hit that like button. That way YouTube will share this video so more people can see my reaction to it. So like I said, please stay to the end. Let me know in the comment section that you watched the entire video and you hit that like button. I really, really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's dive straight into this, man. Let's go.
All right, the president's team has stepped up to the microphone. They just walked outside of the courthouse. Let's dip in here and listen.
More honest, coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this courtroom. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor.
Ooh.
And that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024. And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart.
Yep.
And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where
around
attorneys
YouTube,
are
this video that went viral.
Where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests. It doesn't matter what your politics are.
Yep.
Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense.
At almost 2 million
I don't
views.
care who you are.
And I knew nothing
You
about
have a
it.
right to hire a lawyer who can put
And
objections on the
this right
record.
here was saying
You
that
have a right to hire a lawyer
Trump's
who can
attorney,
stand
Alina
up and
Habba,
say
y'all know how much we
something
respect
when they
Alina
see
Habba. She
something
calls
wrong.
it like it is.
But I was
She
told
does
to sit
not
down today.
hold back at all.
I was yelled at.
Now,
and I've had a
she made this
judge who's
video saying that when she was in the
slamming
courtroom
a
that she was getting
Let me be very
yelled
clear.
at
I
and
don't tolerate that in my
that
life.
that corrupt
I'm not gonna
judge
tolerate
was
it.
slamming his fist on the table,
know what? You
basically acting
shouldn't
like he's
either.
trying to treat her like a
Because
child
not
or something.
every American citizen
And y'all
gets a
know
camera
Alina
and a
Habba is not
microphone.
going
And what
for
I'm
that
seeing is such
at
a
all.
demise
Now, I definitely want to
of
check this out
American
to see exactly what happened, to
judicial
see
system and
Alina
democracy.
Habba's
Miss
side of
James
view
came
of
out
it.
this morning and
So
said
we
that
definitely
she
about to check
knew
it out and see what
Mr.
she got to
Trump.
say.
She always
And
calls
I'm
him
pretty
Mr.
sure
Trump because
it's
he-
not going to be nice because this video is circulating and it seemed like she wasn't playing. Now, like I said, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. Everybody been leaving positive comments in the comment section. I also want to thank everybody that clicked on this video for the very first time. I appreciate you as well, and shout out to the ones that always watch the
Homeboy's
entire
got a
video
good video,
and hit that
good
like button.
channel.
That way YouTube will share this video so more people can see my reaction to it. So like I said, please stay to the end. Let me know in the comment section that you watched the entire video and you hit that like button. I really, really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's dive straight into this, man. Let's go.
All right, the president's team has stepped up to the microphone. They just walked outside of the courthouse. Let's dip in here and listen.
Been more honest, coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this